vast sheet of living gold. Loch Katrine lay beneath him rolled. In all her length far winding lay, with promontory, creek, and bay, and islands that, empurpled bright, floated amid the livelier light, and mountains that like giants stand, the sentinel.